record on this computer. Okay, we are recording. Perfect. Awesome. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Arian Radman. I'm the CEO at IgnitePOST, and I am joined here by Lauren Clark from Point Broadband. And I'm super excited to chat with her today because we've been working together for the past few months, and we're going to go over, and I like to do these kind of retrospectives every now and then to talk through her experience and kind of what we did and kind of dive into the nitty gritty. So Lauren, welcome, and thanks so much for being here and agreeing to chat with me.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So really quickly, before we dive into it and start kind of going through everything, maybe take a quick minute or so and tell me a little bit about, can you talk a little bit about yourself and about Point Broadband? You know, what is Point Broadband for folks who may be unfamiliar, and kind of like, let's set the stage there and then we can dive in more.
Sure. My name is Lauren Clark. I'm the product marketing manager for Point Broadband. Point Broadband is a fiber optic internet company. We were founded about 5 years ago, and we're slowly kind of moving across. So we started in Georgia, Alabama, and we're slowly pushing up to Ohio, Michigan, New York. So we're improving lives through fiber internet. So we're just trying to get internet throughout the country.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. So awesome. So that gives us a good overview. But tell me a little bit. So before you started working with IgnitePOST, what was it about your existing efforts or your existing marketing that initially made you interested in giving IgnitePOST a try? What was that sparked your interest?
So, our marketing team, we do the typical marketing things. We send mailers, we do social media, but we really wanted to give a really personal touch to our customers because we understand that without our customers, our company couldn't function. And so we wanted to really connect with customers in a different, interesting way. Mm-hmm. And so in doing a little bit of research, we found IgnitePOST and really kind of thought it was really interesting. And, as a larger company and a company that continues to get larger, it's a little harder to get that personal touch. And
Totally.
We thought IgnitePOST could help us get that really personal touch that would really make a difference to our customers because our customers matter to us. So.
Totally. Nice. And so kind of along those lines, right, you talked a little bit about, wanting to move into new markets and kind of spread across the country. So, before we get into like the specifics about what we did, so what were some of the general goals that you had for our service? You talked about wanting to, have that more of a personal touch, but can you talk a little bit about, some of the overall goals that you had in using IgnitePOST? Because I know you came to us with some ideas in mind of what you guys are trying to achieve.
We're looking at all different aspects because marketing is not just how do we sell to a customer. Sometimes it's how do we learn from our customers? What can we gain back? And so we came to you guys with a couple of different ideas. Yep. We wanted to maybe reach out to customers to see how we can improve. We wanted to reach out to customers and see if there was something that we could help them with to better their experience. We wanted to reach out to customers to say, hey, thank you for being our customer, things like that. So we wanted to there were so many different things that we wanted to do. And you guys were really able to help us kind of dial down and figure out exactly how to execute and things. But yeah, I mean, we threw a lot of ideas at you, and you guys were really good about.
I do remember that. I do remember the kind of like laundry list of ideas. So yeah, which is interesting. I mean, because sometimes, the most important thing about marketing sometimes is figuring out what you don't want to do, right? Yeah. Oftentimes, there are so many things that you can do. The challenge is actually figuring out how do we whittle this down and really narrowly go after the things that, really matter and give us the most, the most bang for our buck. So I do remember that was fun. I always like
helped us figure out what we didn't want to do, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
What about this? Yeah.
Nice. And so, kind of continuing that thread. So what was it about IgnitePOST that you found the most interesting or worthwhile?
So personally, myself, I'm a big fan of like handwritten cards, handwritten notes. And I think that, as we get more technical as, a society, that's something that we are losing. And so I found it really interesting that you guys were using technology, but also still creating that personal touch with people. That was really kind of what sold it for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now, and then the other side of that coin, was there anything that made you nervous going in, or any concerns that you had going in before we started working together, or before we started, kind of running some of the campaigns?
Yeah, I was slightly nervous about how real like the cards and things would look. Like,
Yep.
would you really be able to tell or not?
Yep.
And so, because I felt like there could be this sense of somebody gets a card in the mail and it really does look fake. And then it's just like, well, what is Point Broadband doing?
Right,
But
right.
obviously that was not the case. It was really realistic. And it was really, you guys were really true to what you said that you were going to do. So I have no more concerns at all.
That's always good. That's always good. And then, so product aside, tell us a little bit about the process of working with us, with the IgnitePOST team. How did you find the process? What was, kind of what feedback do you have there?
So you guys have been so easy to work with. You and Jeremy specifically, we meet weekly. I always feel like I can always talk through everything with you guys. You guys are willing to hear my feedback. You guys kind of bring some interesting new ideas that I hadn't thought of. So I feel like it's really collaborative. You guys have been incredibly easy to work with. I feel like we're emailing back and forth. You guys are always quick to respond. And anything I need at all, you guys are right on it. So it's been incredibly easy.
I love it. And then, so kind of a thread in there that you spoke about is you said, we've been able to generate some things that you maybe hadn't anticipated, or that you weren't thinking of. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Like, maybe what kind of things came up that you hadn't anticipated, or kind of what came up that was something that was maybe out of the box a little bit, that maybe wouldn't have been in your repertoire, but kind of came up from our time working together.
So just in terms of like the cards themselves, just a couple of the tweaks that we made when we added the headquarters, or when we did the quote on one, we did the A/B testing, that made sense once we did it. Even as far as like some of the things that were in the card and kind of the tone of the card, where I initially would have been like, no, I didn't even think of that, because, but the tones of the card, they're friendly, but they do get the point across, and they're getting answers. So I think that, you guys were just able to just kind of, in terms of, the card specifically with the emails, the schedule of the emails that go out, that makes perfect sense to me. And then, right now, Jeremy and I have been kind of sharing ideas about a new project.
Yep.
And I brought him an idea of something that we possibly wanted to do in terms of to get a response from customers. Hey, fill out the survey, we'll give you a gift card. And he said, okay, I hear you. But what I have found is if you make a donation to a nonprofit in their name and of their choice, that might get people to respond better. And I was like, you're right. Actually, that does make sense, but it was just nothing that I was thinking of, because, I want people to respond, let's give them a gift. Whereas they can give the gift to someone else, which would make me more likely to participate. So it's just ideas that I hadn't thought of that, that were awesome.
Awesome. Very cool. And so what I want to do now is I want to switch gears a little bit. So I think we've set the stage a bunch about, some what was your concerns going in, or how was the collaborative and iterative process like. Let's talk a little bit about what we did. So I'll kind of turn it over to you first, because I know from a higher level, we talked about we wanted to move and expand into different markets, and there were a couple of different kind of buckets of tests that we did and kind of campaigns that we ran. So maybe can you kind of take it from there and talk through a little bit, what were the actual tangible things that we did in the campaigns that we ran, and how did it work? What was the process? And then we can, we'll talk about the results.
Sure. So the first test that we did. Our company was in the old-fashioned cable business, and we realized with the the continuous price increases from the cable company that we were getting at Point, that we were going to have to continually pass those price increases to our customers. And it didn't make sense to us, because now you have streaming, you have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have HBO, all of these different things, and customers could save money. And, we want to improve our customers' lives. So we thought, okay, let's help these customers learn how to stream so we can save them money, so we can get them off of cable.
Yep.
We do still offer cable, but we're trying to help customers learn that, you don't have to pay for traditional cable. So what we did is we took, in a couple of markets, we took 400 customers and we wrote them a card that was just like, hey, my name is Alex. Do you know that there's a better way that you can watch TV? And we sent those cards out. And then we followed up with, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was 5 emails.
Correct. Yeah, it was a
5
5 email sequence. Yep.
Yes, just to follow up to see if we could at least get these customers to call. And so we could discuss, hey, you can stream. By the way, we'll come out to your house, help you set up streaming, help you set up a smart device, yada, yada, yada. And so we did it in one market, and then we switched to another market where we had another 400. And with the second market, we were able to learn what did and did not work with the first one. We changed the card a little bit. We didn't change the messaging all that much, but then we also changed the schedule of the sequence of the email. So that seemed to work a little bit.
Yep.
And I found it to be incredibly successful. It blew our minds.
I was surprised as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because when we're trying to get people to switch to streaming, there have been people who've been like, well, if you're going to raise my prices for cable, I don't want to stream. I'm going to cancel all of my service with you, which would have been phone. Some people had phone, but people also had internet with us. And so we were trying to say, no, keep your internet with us, because that will help you stream. And I was a little nervous that people were just going to cancel completely. And the results did not show that, because we were able to provide that personal touch through Ignite. And then our staff was able to take over and walk people through it and go to their homes. So it was just another personal touch, like we talked about earlier. We wanted to give that personal touch.
Totally. Yeah. And then kind of going a step further in that first campaign that so you mentioned that we did a little bit of A/B testing to figure out what would resonate, what wouldn't resonate with folks. And I remember in that first campaign, we did kind of like 2 different cards that were fairly different, where I believe one was kind of just like a more formal logo, and one was actually a quote that we tried to kind of go a little bit more of the artistic route. And we found overwhelmingly that everybody responded better to the kind of more formal Point Broadband logo. So that was really interesting. I think in that campaign, just to kind of like break it down for folks, I think we sent it to over just around 400 people, and we saw a 62.12% response rate, which was crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah. So, but that was the overall response rate, but it was very clear, because we saw that everybody that was responding, overwhelmingly, they were responding to the cards that were more formalized, kind of had the logo. And so what we did is we took that, and I remember using that in the second kind of cohort that we tested, and we kind of took our learnings from there. We said, okay, well, your customers obviously respond better to, you've got a very strong brand, and everyone's responding better to that logo. And so we kind of took that, applied that to the next market that we tried, which I believe was another 400 contacts. And then we saw an even better response rate.
Yeah. So, and you said 61%. I remember going and thinking, okay, it's not going to be better than 61%.
Right. Yeah. I remember that as well. I remember that as well. But yeah, so we took the kind of winning permutation from that first cohort, and we sent that to everybody in the second cohort. And let's see, I pulled up the stats here. So 73.5% response rate for that second cohort. By just kind of taking the winner from the first cohort and just fanning that out to everybody. So yeah, so that was really exciting to see. So it's good to see that, the response rates held from one kind of cohort to the other, and then we were able to actually, even step it up a notch as well. So
Yeah.
that's always fun.
Yeah.
On your side as well, so these were some statistics for kind of getting people to respond to you and kind of, opening up that conversation. And you mentioned before that one of the things that you did from there is actually have that conversation with them to have them either,
Yeah.
keep their existing service or to just kind of drop cable and stay on streaming. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the results you saw on your side after folks got to you?
Yeah. So on the stats that we pulled, of the customers that we were able to get to call us and either make a switch to streaming and keep the service or cancel their service altogether, 47% of the people that made some sort of change in the first market that we discussed kept our service. 47%, which was great. I was like, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
In the second market, 80% of the people who made any sort of change kept our service because we were able to tweak. So 80% is amazing.
Nice.
I mean,
nice.
Like I said, I thought we weren't going to get any better. I thought we weren't going to get a better response rate. I thought we were not going to get more people, because change is hard for people, but
yeah,
80% of people switched to streaming because we were able to save 80% of our customers money.
Nice.
In that
That's
market.
the goal. That's the goal.
That's the goal.
And keep them as customers.
And keep them as customers. But yeah.
Nice. Well, awesome. This has been awesome. Thank you so much for kind of walking us through the results there. And the kind of like last couple of questions here before we land the plane. If you could go back a few months and kind of talk to yourself before you started trying IgnitePOST, what kind of, would there be any advice that you would give to yourself? If so, what would you say?
Well, I would tell myself to do it sooner. I think we can agree on that. And just be really open-minded and be prepared to collaborate. And, we're working on different projects now. I think we have one in the works right now that we're working on to get some customer feedback. And we have a couple that we're talking about doing for 2023.
Yep.
So, the sky is the limit for what you can do with it. You just have to be creative and think about different aspects. Yeah, I would just tell myself to do it sooner.
I love it. And then
the results are here.
That is true. Yeah. Would you have any advice, or what would you say to any other organizations that might be thinking about using IgnitePOST in our managed services offering?
I would say give it a try. Just start. Find a way to use it. Use the personal touch aspect of it. And like I said, you guys are really easy to work with. So it's not a high pressure situation. You guys aren't, you need to do this now. It's very relaxed, but you get the results. It's really collaborative and it's really creative and it's kind of fun too. So
I know,
it's
right?
fun to get the results from people, and it's fun to talk to customers in a way that, that they would call in and just be really technical. But these people, our customers, want to have conversation. So it's opening up a line of communication with them that maybe you didn't have before. So yeah, just do it.
Getting more feedback and talking with your customers, never a bad thing.
Never a bad thing. Yep.
Nice. Well, Lauren, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming on here, sharing your views, letting us take a peek at some of the results. This has been super helpful. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed working with you for the past few months. Really excited to continue working together as well. So thank you for coming on and sharing. I know this is going to be super helpful for folks. So awesome. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.